Kings Canyon is a great place if you're looking for the big sequoia trees. The park is located south of Yosemite. The nearest big town is Fresno, I believe, and Kings Canyon is next to the Sequoia National Park as well. A good starting point this morning could be this big Stump Grove. And I know there is a trail going down to the left, so let's follow that one and see if we can find big trees. This tree is enormous. It's hard for you to see how thick it is because you don't have a reference point, but I'll tell you one thing. It is massive. It's much bigger than a regular car. It's just crazy. I am trying to create a reference point for you so you can see how big these trees are. And if you haven't seen it yourself, you wouldn't believe they existed in nature. That's my take on it. So take a look at the tree and compare it to the cameraman. Holy crap. Yeah, it's a big tree. It's big. And this is not one of the biggest. It's just big, okay? So a forest like this is pretty much a mixture of a lot of different species of trees. And most trees are normal in size, but here and there in between you will find giants. This might be the stump. It can hold many people on top. This is interesting. This tree must have been enormous, and now the space above it is somewhat empty. And a stump like this can still be, let's call it alive, but it's not, for hundreds of years. And there is a bigger one in between, you know, all the brush. Maybe this was a logging area before they made a park. This one is humongous. But I think this one is bigger than the one we just saw. It's incredible. And it's sad when you have a park showing basically dead stumps instead of real trees, like the one you're looking at. That is depressing. Because a tree like this is over 1,000 years old. Oh, wow, it goes back to the Viking age. The wood is hard, and the only way you can have a tunnel through it is if it's man-made or fire carved it out. I think fire carved this one. So I'm going through and I'm popping out on the other side. Incredible. That's all I can say, guys. Incredible. You could say that this is a slaughter field of the old sequoias. People cut them down when they didn't know better. And now we know, and it's almost too late. So bad. This is the biggest one, and there are two smaller in the back. I will not walk the entire trail. Instead, I will continue another 10 feet. And there are two more stumps in the shadow on the other side. And the meadow is full of logs. One of the main attractions in the park is of course the famous Grant tree. And if you want to see that, you need to continue to drive another, I don't know, half a mile, something like that. Anyway, this is the visitor center. There is a restaurant. There is also a gift shop, because people love to buy souvenirs. Maybe a t-shirt with the name Kings Canyon on it. Now it's time to find one of the biggest trees existing in the world. Where is it? This grove is wild. The trees are enormous. And I know one thing, it will be hard to catch this on video, because when you get closer, you can't see how tall they are. Wow. Today the biggest tree is the Sherman tree. I can't remember the age, but this one, the Grant tree, is over 1500 years. And the Chicago stump that is still in existence in the park was cut down, and they counted the rings, and I think it was over 3000 years old. So if you leave these trees alone, they could be well over 3000 years old in perfect conditions. The trail makes a perfect circle, and the Grant tree is up to the right. At least we can compare the size. And the weight is of course enormous.
And now it's like
This is somewhat interesting. They carved this log and made a tunnel. It's not every day you're inside a tree. I love it. It's totally black from a fire, and maybe that's what's killed it. It's a peaceful morning. It's not too crowded. And everybody is having a good time.
What are we doing? Little Baldy? Just think little Baldy.
Do you want to withdraw?
yeah, just right here.
They tell us that this tree is 268 feet tall and 40 feet wide. And this sign is saying that the age is over 1,700 years.
Where are you from?
Colorado.
This is also
Oh, we live up in the mountains.
probably the best view you can get of the tree. It's so huge.
Where are you guys?
I lived 4 years in Rocky Ford in the Hunter.
Oh, right.
In between the trees, you see what looks like a morning fog. It's not clear. And sometimes it is fog, but they are also burning the ground here and there to rejuvenate these giants. The seeds need fire to be able to open. And I'm lucky because that is probably what they talk about. Yeah, they say frequent fires shape this ecosystem. It is correct. I will back down slightly. They call this the Tennessee tree. Another beast. 100 yards from the Grant tree. It's an interesting feeling to think that this tree has been around for 1700 years. I mean, it's mind-boggling. That's even before the Vikings. Can you believe that? Before the Vikings. Woo. Yeah. Nature can do many things, and this is one of them. This is, of course, not the oldest tree in California. They have trees that are 5,000 years old, but at least the sheer size of the tree is so impressive. You can't ignore them. Some of these branches you're looking at are way thicker than other trees that are thick. I'm just saying, it's crazy. Hello.
by volume. It's the third largest tree in the world by volume.
What's up?
Can you believe it? This is the third largest tree in the world by
And that is the top.
Third?
Yeah.
А, я думала второе.
No, it says third.
Alright guys, go ahead. Start.
Мальчики, становитесь.
It's a popular place because the name is on that sign, in case you forget the name, the General Grant tree. The nation's Christmas tree. I don't know about that, that's kind of weird. It is weird, but that's what they call it. It's a gimmick. It is a nice trail, so I think I will walk the whole thing. The first people coming to the area built cabins like this one. And it was built in 1872. Maybe this is a better view. And people brought cattle up in the mountain range as well. I can't believe it, because there is like nothing to eat except if you go to the meadows. Then of course the cows or whatever they brought could find food in the summertime. Most of the time trees are growing by themselves, but you also find trees like this growing together like good friends. Another stump, the centennial stump. Wow, 24 feet diameter. That's not bad. This is also a big tree. As a matter of fact, it's extremely big, but it looks like nothing compared to the big sequoias. This is a tree. This part is mostly open, probably because of fire, I think. I know there was a big fire in the mid-1900s. But if you continue down this dirt road, you will, in a few hundred yards, end up by the Chicago Stump. Let's see, they say they paid somebody in 1893 $15,000 to cut down this giant tree and move it to Chicago. Unbelievable. After 3,000 years, they cut down this magnificent tree. And 3,000 years, that's like before Europe was founded, before Greece, before the Roman Empire, before everything. I don't know, but it was a long time ago. It's a beautiful area. It's so peaceful. And these groves, they are normally away from the wind. The area is also full of smaller stumps. Yeah, it's too bad. Logging was going on for almost 40 years up in this area. Another monument from over 100 years ago. A lower cut stump, and then in about 20 seconds a giant one. Look at the size. Humans are dwarfed by this giant. Seeing is believing, yes, that is true. $3,200 years. That's amazing. The oldest sequoia ever known. A last look at this magnificent former tree. The biggest tree probably ever cut. And there is nothing above it.